Pre-rotation, we know Iron Hands as a one-of tech in Miraidon, Chen Pao, and Lost Box. However, Iron Hands becomes the star of its own deck post-rotation. I'm Jet from InThirdPerson.com. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's take a look at this Iron Hands EX Future Box deck. First off, shoutouts to OmniPoke for this tier list, compiling the results and giving decks points based on their performance post the Fukuoka Champions League. And one of the biggest winners coming out of that event is actually Iron Hands with Iron Crown. Now, the whole concept of this deck with Iron Hands and Iron Crown, it started out as a box deck with a bunch of different types of attackers. But since then, the simplified version of the deck that's primarily Iron Hands and Iron Crown has really taken off. And as we can see here on this tier list, it is now one of the best decks in the game in Japan. What makes this deck so strong is Iron Hands EX as our main attacker. It's got 230 HP, which is a little tricky to one-hit KO, and it has two great attacks. Arm Press for 160 for 2 lightning and a colorless, and then Amp You Very Much for 1 lightning and 3 colorless does 120 damage, and if you knock out a Pokemon in this way, you take an extra prize. Even in times where you can't one-shot a Pokemon, if you can two-shot a Pokemon with that Amp You Very Much, potentially take 3 prizes on a multi-prizer, that's fantastic. Increasing its damage even more is Iron Crown EX. Its Cobalt Commander ability boosts your future Pokemon's damage by 20 for each Iron Crown in play. If you've got 4 of these, you are doing an extra 80 damage. On top of that, there are future booster capsules, which can boost your damage by another 20. So these numbers, which look okay, 160, 120, become amazing when paired up with Iron Crown. The deck starts off with Miraidon, and this new one is great. For 1 colorless energy, Speed Peak does 40 damage, and you search your deck for up to 2 basic energy and attach them to your future Pokemon in any way you like. And this is our way of powering up Iron Hands at the beginning of the game. And if we've got some Iron Crowns in play, we can take out smaller Pokemon like Charmanders and Comphase with this Miraidon while also accelerating energy. On top of that, that sparking attack for 160 damage is not bad if you are running Psychic Energy as well, and you boost that damage with Iron Crown, potentially knocking out basic Vs and basic EXs with this Miraidon is awesome. Heavy Baton is another key piece of this Iron Hands deck, where if the Pokemon that has this tool has a retreat cost of exactly 4, you can move up to 3 basic energy cards from that Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. And this is going to be our primary way of chaining energy between Iron Hands. Yes, we can use stuff like Electric Generator to accelerate energy, but to keep that energy in play, Heavy Baton is the trick. Prime Catcher is the ace spec of choice for this deck. Lets you switch in one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active, and then you do the same. And this is a great gusting option, and you might need to run a switch after to get your primary attacker in, but this can be great for getting Iron Hands to hit the right target and potentially take an extra prize. Let's start this off with this example from City League, Nara, and I like this one as the basic example because there's no frills in this deck. It's 4 Iron Hands, it's 3 Iron Crown for that damage boost, we've got 2 Miraidons for that energy acceleration, and then from there it's really just go. We've got 4 research, 4 Arven to get ourselves one of the many tools in here, or use one of the many items in this deck. 2 Iono for some hand disruption, but really it's research and Arven grabbing us stuff like Techno Radar, which is essentially Battle VIP Pass for future Pokemon, but you can use it at any point in the game. Electric Generator for energy acceleration, Poke Gear, Counter Catcher. No boss's orders in this deck, so playing from behind a little bit here, at least that's how it's expected to go. 2 Nest Balls to get our basics down just in case. And then, yeah, we've got our Prime Catcher, 4 booster capsules. So you don't necessarily need the Heavy Baton on all the Iron Hands, but definitely a couple here so that you can move at least some of that energy, and then taking advantage of that booster energy capsule, not only for the 20 damage, but also free retreat, so that Prime Catcher is a little easier to use. 2 town stores to get access to this booster capsule and the heavy baton, and 16 lightning energy. It's a lot, but we are using the electric generator as well, so we really want a high number of generators or a high number of energy to give our generators a better chance of hitting. The second list techs in 1 Iron Boulder EX as well as 1 fighting energy, and I thought the Iron Boulder was here at first to knock out stuff like Arceus V-Star or an Iron Hands, but with only 1 fighting energy, we're actually not doing enough damage to one-hit KO either of those Pokemon, so we can't use Power Stamp for that. I guess theoretically you could put in more fighting energy and other ways to accelerate, but I digress. Really, it's here for Repulsor Axe, where it does 60 damage, and if this Pokemon takes damage from an attack during your opponent's next turn, put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. I will admit, I didn't think this Pokemon was that good at first. I'm still kind of questioning it, but I'm seeing this pop up more and more in Japanese lists, and I think it's here for that extra chip damage where you soften something up by 60 to 140 damage, and then you come in with the Iron Hands and take the extra prize. So in that case, I can understand the value. Example 3 gets a little more wacky with the tech Pokemon. For example, we see a One of Mew EX here, where it has the ability Restart. Once during your turn, you can draw until you have 3 cards. Really nice. And genome hacking, I don't think... we do have the double turbo energy here to make it a little easier to attack with Mew EX, where for 3 colorless energy, you can choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. So there could be some cool attacks you can copy with Mew EX. We also have Iron Bundle here, mostly for its Hyper Blower ability, where you can force your opponent's bench Pokemon into the active. It's basically a one-way escape rope, and then you discard this Pokemon. Not really attacking with this Pokemon. Let's double check. No, we are not. So really just using this for the ability. We also have Squawkabilly EX. Lets us discard our hand and draw 6 cards on the first turn, giving us more opportunities to set up. I don't mind Squawkabilly EX here. And then this one was weird. Infernape V was I've never seen this ever in a competitive deck, and this one did very well. And the only 2 things I can think of for this being here, because like you're not using this for Meteor Punch. Theoretically, yes, you could. We have no fire energy here, so we're not using it for Bright Flame. And the only 2 reasons I can think of this being in the deck is 1, it has free retreat, although Mew EX is also a free retreater, but then this deck also runs Forest Seal Stone. And Forest Seal Stone is a really nice tech. You put it on the Infernape V, grab a card of your choice as your V-Star power, and that's really nice as well. There are other V Pokemon you potentially could use here instead of Infernape V, but you get the utility of a free retreat as well on top of Mew EX, so that is potentially why Infernape V is here. This last list techs in 1 Miraidon EX, and this one has 2 attacks. First one, Repulsion Bolt for 1 lightning and 1 psychic, does 60 damage if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it. This attack does 100 more damage, 160 if they've already got damage. Not bad, but really it's here for that second attack. Cyber Drive for Lightning, Psychic, and Colorless does 220 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Cyber Drive. Now, with all of the Iron Crowns in play and the future booster capsule on it, we are doing 300 damage with the Miraidon EX. However, it's a little awkward to use because it's not a lightning type Pokemon. We can't use electric generator to power it up. We have to attach the psychic energy by hand, and I don't see any energy switch in here or reboot pod or anything like that. So this feels like it could be problematic to power up. I guess Iron Hands with the baton could move that energy to the Miraidon, and then you have a heavy hitter in this deck which can hit for upwards of 300 damage, which is something that the other builds of this we haven't been able to do so far. We also see Crisis Punch in this deck, where you can only use this. Well, this attack only works if your opponent has 1 prize left, but it gives you 1 more swing at 280 damage for 3 colorless energy. And between Electric Generator and a lot of Pokemon and Heavy Baton can move energy anywhere you want, any of these Pokemon theoretically could use Crisis Punch for that big endgame attack. And there we go. That is a look at the Iron Hands Future Box deck. I'm actually really excited to play this one. This is probably my most anticipated new deck coming out of Temporal Forces, and this will be one of the first ones we check out post-rotation, which is happening in just a couple of days. So very much looking forward to that. Thank you for watching this video, and if you've been keeping up with the post-rotation preview series, thank you so much for watching these videos, and I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope you found them informative, and I hope you have an idea of what you're looking to play post-rotation. But for now, I got to get going. Thank you so much for watching. You can find me on all the things: YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at @InThirdPerson. You can find me on Twitch at @InThirdPerson, where I stream the Pokemon trading card game every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, I know I haven't streamed in the last month because I've been sick, but I will be back. Fingers crossed, I should be back this upcoming Sunday. And check out the website, inthirdperson.com, for more articles and videos on video games, board games, and other nerdy pursuits. So until the next one, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.